that even mean, Bowers Game Corner?
Ahoy there, YouTube! I'm back again today for another game review charged by BoardGameExchange.com. There's only board game rental website. And today I'm very excited to be checking out Quarantine Z from Alloyed Creations. This is for 3 to 5 players, taking about 45 minutes to play, and it's for ages 13 and up. And if you could not tell from the cover, Quarantine Z is all about zombies, brain-eating zombies. You and your teammates are going to be trying to work together, sometimes, and sometimes not working together, to try and thwart the zombies, outlast the zombies, and kill the zombies. You're going to be going to different locations, getting different weapons, doing a bunch of really cool stuff, trying to outlast the zombies, while one player is going to be taking control of the zombies with a special zombie deck, trying to kill all of the survivors. Sound intriguing? Let's open it up and see. Okey-dokey, Quarantine Z. We're going to take a look at what you're going to get inside the game. First and foremost, we got our handy-dandy rule booklet. It is 12 pages, double-sided, black and white, and it's pretty well done. You won't have too many questions that are left unanswered in it. It's a pretty straightforward rule booklet. They did not mess that up, which is always great. And next you're going to get a dice and cards, and more cards. This entire game is all a card game. So let's go over the cards first real quick. First you're going to get location cards. There's various different locations through the games. They'll have different modifiers. Some will have different escape points, so some are easier to escape, some are harder to escape. Some, when you get there, will have weapons and ammo. Some will have supplies there. Some will already have zombies there. They are all very different, vastly different. Now, there are some that repeat. There's like numerous houses and whatnot, but they all have their own unique flair, and some of them have different special events that you're going to roll to try and do. Next, you're going to get your zombie cards, and whoever decides to be the zombie player will be using this deck. Because in this game, in order to win, you have to make sure that the survivors outlast the zombie by making them get rid of all the cards in the zombie deck. Now, that's a pretty thick deck, but trust me, it's not as hard and daunting as it sounds, even though it is still difficult. So the zombie's going to have all these cards. He's going to be laying down different zombies. There'll be different special events. There'll be different modifiers, so you can, or mutators, so you can make this zombie dog into now a burning zombie dog. Which means if a survivor plays the fight action and misses, they take 1 damage. Now, taking 1 damage is a big deal in this game because you only have 3 health. The next card I want to mention that I really do like the fact they did these are the survivor cards. Now this is going to serve as your pawn, so to speak, but it's going to be in front of you. Now it's got turn order on it, and then it also has how much life you have, so you can cover that up. So you have 3 life, and then you only have 2 life, 1 life, until you are dead. So 3 life, you definitely want to be making sure that you're taking care of yourself. They also have 1 for the zombie, which is awesome. Makes the game run a lot smoother. Now one pet peeve that I want to mention that I forgot to mention in my closing is that the text in this game is extremely tiny, which is very, very annoying. Now, I understand why they did it, because some cards have a lot of text on it, so they wanted to make it, they had to make it small, and some cards have just a teeny weeny bit of text, and they didn't want to have different sized text because they thought it would look weird. I personally wish they would have made it look weird, though, because the text is very, very difficult to read unless you were just really close to it. But moving onward, it's not a deal breaker by any stretch of the imagination. Next, you're going to have munitions and supplies. And munitions, as you could guess, are guns and bullets and various other different things that you're going to use to fight and kill zombies. Baseball bats, katanas, hand cannons, and all sorts of different things. Next, you're going to have supplies, and these are my favorite pile. They have various different things, like the shoes will help you escape from zombies, and there's what's called provisions. Now, in order to win this game, as I mentioned, you're going to have to make sure that the zombie uses all of his cards and loses all of his cards. What you're going to be able to do, though, is if you can find a safe area where you can hunker down and you can turn in enough provisions, you'll be able to make the zombie lose 14 cards. So they essentially will just throw out 14 cards out of this deck. So that's how this deck gets whittled down. You don't have to kill all those zombies, thankfully. You got an energy drink, which will let you attack twice, which is very, very useful. You got like ninja spray, because part of the element of this game is you have to be very quiet. and that's all done by rolling dice. When you're shooting a gun, obviously not so quiet because you're instantly going to draw attention, but if you're just using a katana, you might. But when you're going to different places, you're going to have to roll to see how quiet you are, and depending on how quiet you and your team are, the enemy player will get to draw more zombie cards, which they'll get to use against you. There's a lot of moving parts going on in this game, so I can't go over everything, but I am trying to hit on piece by piece. Next, you're going to get these. Shoot, escape, and fight. And each survivor is going to get their own set of these. Now, shoot means that you are shooting the zombie from a safe distance. 4 times out of 6, you're going to miss if you're throwing a rock. However, if you have a gun, it will have its own set of shooting. But either way, if you're using a gun, you're going to be shooting it. So if you're throwing a rock at zombies, if you hit on a 5 or 6, you're going to do 1 damage, which is good. If you miss, that stinks, you miss. Next, you might choose to fight. This is where you're going to get your hands dirty, getting hand-to-hand. Now, you got a 50-50 shot of hitting. 1, 2, or 3, you're going to miss. 4, 5, or 6, you're going to hit. But if you get a 6, you're going to do 2 damage, which is great. Last but not least, we have escape. This just means you're going to try and chicken out and run away. Now, this isn't your entire team, though, which is where the game gets juicy. This is just you escaping. Your teammates are still left there to fight the zombies, and normally they will be just a teensy bit ticked off at you, which is a lot of fun. Now, how this works is, if you're fighting the zombies hand-to-hand, and there's a zombie left, they're only going to be able to attack one of you most of the time, so obviously they're going to attack someone who's fighting them. So shooting them makes you a little bit safer, but fighting them is going to cause more damage, so it balances itself out pretty well. What you're going to do is, when it's time to do that, you'll hold out 1 card, and then you'll all flip it at the same time and say, oh, he's escaping, he's fighting, he's shooting, etc., etc. Because you are going to have various different zombies floating around the different spaces on the board. And what you're going to do is, you're going to be moving from space to space on the board, trying to outlast the zombies by gaining munitions and supplies. And the various different places will give you different munitions and supplies. Some of them, like the hostel, for instance, will even let you heal if you need to. There's also some other stuff that will let you heal in the supply pile. There's bandages. There's even a resuscitating kit, which I think is like a car battery, where you can bring someone, or you have a chance to bring someone back to life. Now, what you're going to be doing is you're just going to be going around trying to outlast the zombies. However, it gets more intriguing because, as I mentioned, this is a semi-cooperative game, which means if someone is doing something you don't like, you can turn around and attack them. This really can lead to some tense moments in the game because what happens is when you kill a zombie or you gain munitions and supplies, you're going to all have to decide how you're going to divvy up the supplies. And if someone really wants the shotgun shell and you really want the shotgun shell, you are going to have to come to some sort of agreement, even if you don't want to. If you don't, then you can fight each other, which is not normally going to be the best good of the team. But anyway, as I mentioned, you're going to be going all around the board, exploring the different areas, killing zombies, trying not to get killed until either A, the guy playing the zombie or the gal playing the zombies kills you all off, or B, all the zombie cards in the zombie's hand and all the zombie cards in the pile are gone. And that, in a nutshell, is how Quarantine Z is played. Alrighty then, Quarantine Z from Alloy Creations. What are my final thoughts? Let's go over the pros, let's go over the cons. First, on the con side, there's a lot of reasons why this game is not going to be for you. If you do not like semi-cooperative games, well, this is semi-cooperative. Also, if you hate player elimination games, you can be eliminated. You can be eliminated early in this game, and you're not going to be coming back, which is going to make some people really angry. Also, the zombie theme. Ugh, another zombie game. I know a lot of people are saying that, especially since there's no minis in this game. It's just a card game. There's no minis, it's zombies, and some people just aren't going to be into that. However, moving on to the pros, let me assure you, let me just get this out of the way. Quarantine Z is one of my favorite games of 2013. I love this game. This is my new favorite zombie game. It is outstanding. Let me go over the reasons why I love this game. First and foremost, I love games that immerse me, completely get me into it, that feel like an experience. That's why Twilight Imperium is my favorite game of all time, because it's always an experience. This game is also an experience because it doesn't have role-playing elements per se, but when you're playing this game, you're not just a guy playing this game. You are a guy or a lady who is a survivor trying to outlast the zombie apocalypse, moving from place to place, scavenging for food and weapons. You really feel like you are this person trying to survive the zombie apocalypse. And you have to work together with your team most of the time, even though it is semi-cooperative. You can always turn your back real quick on other people. But most of the time you're going to be working together, trying to negotiate, and when the loot comes out, oh man, that's a feeding frenzy. Like, no, I need that Band-Aid. No, you should give me this because you're about to die. You shouldn't have that. Well, I've got a pistol, so I need those bullets. Be like, well, I've only got one bullet left. Well, so you're going to be doing that the whole time, and it's so juicy. The player interaction in this game is fantastic. I also like the zombies, how they're not the scary zombies. They're the fun, kind of animated zombies. And I wanted to mention that playing as the zombies, while it's not as good as being as one of the survivors, is still a lot of fun because you got this huge deck of zombie cards. You're going to be drawing the cards. You're going to have special mutations for the zombies. So you have like flaming zombies. You'll have zombie dogs and zombie rockers. There's a lot of cool stuff in the zombie deck. The last thing I want to mention that I really did like about this game was I like the locations. I like how you'd be going from place to place to place, trying to find that what's it called, the stronghold or whatever it is, where you could hunker down for a little bit and knock away some of the zombie cards. I'm just going on and on. Quarantine Z is a game you need to check out. It might fly under your radar, but it shouldn't. This is an outstanding game you need to check out. I love it. If you enjoyed this review, please be sure to subscribe to my channel. Thanks for your time, YouTube.
That was the review for Quarantine Z. For more reviews and previews, check back at Bauer's Game Corner. Also, be sure to check out BoardGameExchange.com, the greatest invention since tripods.